to make some news about my campaign for the Senate. I am really looking forward to campaigning on my record and what I hope to get done in another term to continue to help Colorado recover from the COVID crisis, to make sure that finally we have an economy that works for all Coloradans and all Americans, not just the people at the very top, that we're protecting our environment and Colorado's public lands, continuing to strengthen our democracy and our commitment to the rule of law, and helping to restore America's place in the world. And today I'm announcing the first round of endorsements for my reelection campaign. I'm grateful beyond measure to have endorsements from 140 elected officials and community leaders at every level from across government. The reporters on this call are the first to see the full list, and I know Justin's going to put a link in the chat right now. The list includes so many people that I've had the great privilege to work with and to deliver with for the state of Colorado, including the governor, members of Congress, state legislators, mayors, county commissioners, council members, and community leaders from every corner of the state. Since the start of the year, we've been running a strong reelection campaign. We launched our first campaign ad in English and Spanish about the expanded child tax credit to cut child poverty in America almost in half, cut child poverty in Colorado by about the same amount, benefit 90% of Colorado's families with children. We raised $1.2 million in the first 3 months of the year and hired an experienced campaign team to help tell the story of the work we've been doing for all Coloradans, whether they voted for me or not. And now we're rolling out our first slate of endorsements from elected officials at every level of the state. I am extremely happy to introduce the special guests on today's call who can talk about the work that we've done together. United States Senator John Hickenlooper, Colorado Senator James Coleman, former Colorado Senator Polly Baca, and San Miguel County Commissioner Hillary Cooper. As each of them, I'm sure, will say, we've accomplished a lot together, and we still have a lot to get done. And with that, we turn it over to my partner, Senator John Hickenlooper.
Unmute.
Sorry, new computer. What can I say?
Fancy.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's an honor, Michael, to be with James Coleman and Polly Baca and Hillary Cooper, three people that I tremendously admire. But if you were going to go across Colorado, you'll find so many people that I admire that are 100% behind the Michael Bennet reelection effort. And obviously he has gotten, just by his pure tenacity, the expanded child tax credit through and passed. He is, I mean, that's going to cut childhood poverty by 50%. But more than that, he's been working for Colorado families and working people since he first got to the Senate more than 10 years ago. And I remember I started working with Michael almost 20 years ago. So what you see today is what we saw back then. Somebody who's not afraid to roll up their sleeves and do the hard work and reach across the aisle when you need to make sure we can get things done. And I will do everything I can over the next a year and 9 months until November of 2022 to make sure I can do my part to make sure Michael gets reelected, and hopefully we'll be able to get pretty much everybody in the state to do their part as well. With that, I'll turn it over to is it next, James? Is that you?
It's me, brother.
Senator James Coleman.
All right, thank you, Senator Hickenlooper. Hello, my name is James Coleman, and I'm just proud to serve as state senator for Colorado's Senate District 33, representing Northeast and far Northeast Denver. And it's my honor, along with my colleagues here, to endorse Senator Michael Bennet for his reelection campaign, mostly because of his unwavering commitment to the people of Colorado and our nation. Well, Michael has proven to be a true champion for the things that matter to my community. He hears our voices and they inform his fight. He and I meet one-on-one every quarter to stay connected and up to date with the concerns of the people we're committed to serving well. And those conversations have yielded benefits for our community, even as we look at the child tax credit, as Senator Hickenlooper talked about. It's going to increase the benefit from $2,000 to $3,000 for children under the age of 17 and $3,600 for children under the age of 6. I have 2 children in Denver Public Schools, and this matters a lot to folks like me in the community I serve. This will have a huge impact on reducing child poverty. Making the child tax credit fully refundable also means that the people most in need will finally be able to receive the full benefit. And in addition, we've seen Senator Bennet work tirelessly on the school to prison pipeline. So over the past year, in collaboration with local communities, Michael's convened a roundtable, including educators, students, nonprofit and community leaders, elected officials, and others to identify sustainable ways to dismantle the school to prison pipeline. And in doing so, Michael's developed a plan to end the school to prison pipeline and increase access to education and economic opportunities, especially for students of color like myself, and also students with disabilities. This is the type of representation that we deserve and must expect at all levels of government. Michael knows what it takes, and he knows that to represent the people, you must be in consistent relationship with the people. He is one of the most visible federal elected officials in communities of color. He marches with us, he gathers with us in community to discuss critical matters, as does his colleague, Senator Hickenlooper. And he's present because he serves on purpose. So I stand with Senator Bennet, and I look forward to his reelection to the U.S. Senate to represent us here in the great state of Colorado. Now it is my honor to give the floor to someone who blazed the trail for me to serve in the Colorado legislature, and the first Hispanic woman elected to the Colorado State Senate, former Senator Polly Baca, for her remarks. Polly, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Senator James Coleman, my good friend. I am, delighted, and thank you for your comments regarding Senator Bennet, because I agree with everything that you said, especially your comments about his support for communities of color. And I'm so proud to join you and everyone here to endorse Michael Bennet for re-election. Senator Bennet has been critical in helping Colorado recover stronger from the COVID-19 crisis and representing the needs of Coloradans in local communities. Michael, your leadership and your locally driven approach are really indispensable. Listening to local communities is so important, I know, to your approach, to Michael's approach, and to finding solutions for communities most in need is what I believe Senator Bennet focuses upon. For example, during this past year, in spite of the pandemic, Michael visited all 64 counties in Colorado and met with local leaders in those communities to help them recover from the pandemic. He was successful in including the health force in the American Rescue Plan, and that provided so much needed funding to hire and train our public health workers and to create jobs and shore up the public health infrastructure in our local communities throughout our state. Michael fought for funding to connect low-income schools and students to internet access for remote learning, which was so important this past year. And that continues to help underserved communities and communities in color, communities of color, excuse me, in both our rural and urban areas, which is so important to all of us. Michael provided a huge lifeline for Coloradans most in need, including extending emergency unemployment benefits, which quite frankly is helping my son, Miguel. And he was, very critical to providing rental assistance to prevent evictions and extending increased SNAP benefits. I am really proud to endorse Michael, and I want to urge everyone listening and out there in Colorado to join us in reelecting Michael Bennet to the United States Senate. And now I have the honor of turning it over to San Miguel County Commissioner Hillary Cooper. Take it away, Hillary.
Oh, thank you, Senator Baca, and it's really an honor to be here with both of you. One currently serving, slugging away under the Golden Dome in Denver, and for your real trailblazing leadership. So my name is Hillary Cooper. I'm a San Miguel County Commissioner. For years, Michael has been working with us at the local level on the CORE Act, which will protect 400,000 of acres of existing public lands. This legislation is also going to protect Colorado's clean air and water. It will enhance our economic opportunities with the outdoor recreation industry that we really covet here in Colorado, and it will protect our cherished agricultural heritage. Recently, Michael has been fighting for us on the Biden administration's American Jobs Plan and the American Rescue Act, which were both referred to. He's working to secure $50 billion to restore forests and watersheds, create local jobs, and support urgently needed wildfire mitigation. Also, $16 billion to clean up our air and water. In addition, he has helped secure $5 billion for investments in rural infrastructure and even more to expand high-speed broadband to every corner of the state. We saw the lack of broadband really impact many of our communities during the pandemic. Michael saw that and was immediately responsive. Michael, as this has been mentioned by the two senators who spoke before me, but I think it's Michael's greatest trait, and that is that he is one of the most deeply curious elected officials and individuals I know. He asks questions, he listens, he actively listens, and then he acts in ways that benefit the people of Colorado. Our communities are vastly different, from densely populated Front Range cities to ag-centered eastern communities to the cowboy boot and ski boot rural Western Slope communities that I live in. If we're going to effectively take on the massive challenges we face from a changing climate, we need someone who is willing to listen to all of us and who has the experience and knowledge to find solutions that will help us move forward together. Michael is the leader that we need for today and tomorrow, and I am proud to endorse him. With that, I will turn it back over to you, Senator Bennet.
Thank you, Commissioner Cooper. As I listened to Polly and James and Hillary and John, I was struck by, I know them all well, and I know you all well, and I was struck by the way you have served always, which is with the knowledge that the job is not about you, it's about the people that you represent. And I've learned that from you guys, and I think we've practiced it together. And I think at this time of this incredibly polarized political landscape in the country, that's really what Colorado needs. It's a complicated state with almost a third Democratic, Republican, and unaffiliated. And as Hillary said, urban and rural and everything in between. And that's why I've made it my work to make sure that the work I do in Washington is rooted in the voices of the people in Colorado that I represent, that the legislation is actually written on their kitchen tables and not written here in Washington, D.C. And I think as a result of that, we've been able to put some important points on the board. There's a lot left to do, and that's why I'm running again. I'm honored to have the support of all of these local elected officials and community leaders, and I'm looking forward to this campaign. So thank you, everybody, for being on the call tonight. I know people have deadlines, but if anybody needs to get a hold of me, just call Justin. I'll be happy to talk to anybody. Thank you so long. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Justin.